Hey guys, this is Kyle. I'm here to give you a brief overview today of PlayStation Vita Firmware 2.0 and what exactly that means for the PlayStation Vita. We're going to go ahead and get started with the web browser because that's where we saw the biggest number of changes here. Fortunately, I have two Vitas here, which will help me show you how much they improved the web browser. This one on top here, this is 2.0. Just upgraded it. And this one on the bottom, this is still at 1.81, so the previous firmware was 1.81, so we've got both releases here. The first thing I want to do is go ahead and do an ACID 3 test. ACID 3 is a pretty popular test for web browsers, so let's go ahead and pop those up and see how those turn out. Now if you take a look here, the old 1.81 ACID 3 test ends on 99 out of 100. However, now that we've upgraded to 2.0, we do get 100 out of 100 on the ACID 3 test. Okay, well that's cool, but what exactly does that mean? Well, let's run an HTML5 test now and see how that turns out. You can see that the one on the top rendered a little bit quicker, and it's actually completed the test quicker as well. It looks like it's reloading for whatever reason, but that's alright. But if you take a look, we are now scoring a 243 and 2 bonus points out of 500 on the Vita on the top, and we're at 58 and no bonus points on the Vita on the bottom. Okay, again, we're seeing some improved scores here, so let's scroll down. You can see that it'll give us a readout of exactly what's what here and what's passing and blah blah blah, all that technical business. But if we take a look here on this top Vita, you'll see I can scroll pretty well. Right, my results show up pretty quickly here. But if we use the bottom Vita here, you'll see how much longer this, we get the checkered board effect. Those of you who have used old iPads and things like that might be familiar with. And this will stick a lot longer here. So again, if we compare it here. So you'll see you still get a little bit of a black screen on the top, but it tends to load in a lot quicker with absolutely none of this checkerboard effect. So you'll see that alone, I mean, just shows you that the web browser itself has been improved. So there you go. I mean, that's a pretty typical couple of tests there, but you can just see number-wise again if we go to the top, especially with HTML5. With regards to HTML5, this has increased from a 58 with no bonus to a 243 and 2 bonus. So you're going to see a lot of real-time changes out of that, which is very cool. Some other things that changed here as well. Let's say if I want to pop into a game here on the old firmware. Let's see. Whatever works, doesn't matter. But let's say I want to pop into the game, and we'll also do that on the new firmware here as well. So now that I'm in my game here, I've gotten lost and I want to look up on the internet where I need to go. The way it used to be, if I pop over to the internet here, it's going to close my game, which we all thought was incredibly silly. So if I do that and hit OK, I've lost my my save, or I've lost where I'm at now, and I'm going to have to relaunch the game when I go back in. But now the web browser on the Vita is considered what we call a small app, which means we don't have to close it out to do anything. So I can still get on the web browser and stuff like that. So as you can see, it's using the web browser here, and I can flip directly back and end up right back in my game where I was. This is the way we all wanted it to be from the beginning, so I'm very happy that this is the way it is now. Alright, I'm going to put away the old Vita here and actually get back to the new Vita to show you some of the other new features here. This is Grandia. This is a PlayStation 1 game, so I'll show you what they improved here for the PlayStation 1 software on the Vita. If we hop into the settings here, other settings and screen mode, we've now added a custom screen mode to the options here, and if we hit custom screen mode, we can actually move the screen around, squeeze it to shrink it, and stretch it to make it bigger in any sort of which way we want, top, up, down, out to the sides, and diagonally. You also have this keep proportions button here so that you can keep it perfectly proportioned and move it all around the screen. This might, moving it around the screen and stuff, this might seem a little bit silly to some people, but you can basically get your screen perfect now, however you want it. You can stretch it whichever way you want and get it perfect. You don't obviously have to keep the proportions, and you can get it however you want it and keep it like that. This was not in there before at all, so now that you've got that, that's great. The other cool thing that they added in here that is really, really nice is full control settings. So again, if I pop into the settings here and go to control settings and go to assign buttons, it's still the way it was before here through the top, but eventually we get down here. Using the left analog stick, using the right analog stick. These are options that were not in here before. And it also assigned L2 and R2 to the back touchpad. You can now change that and put that on any buttons that you want. So if you want to use this left analog stick in place of a game that didn't use the analog stick, you want to use it in place of the directional pad, you can now just go in there and obviously set left analog up to typical up, and down and left and right, etc., and then it will work just fine. Obviously some PlayStation 1 games had analog support, so you don't need to do that, but most of them did not, as the DualShock came out somewhat late in the PlayStation 1's life. So that's very cool because the analog sticks on the Vita are obviously quite nice. That's not a knock against the D-pad, but there you have it. So that's very cool. So those are the additions for the PlayStation 1 emulator. We've also got a mail app here. 111 unread messages, as you can see there. I need to sort through some of those, but I'll show this really quickly. This is pretty much a no-frills mail application. If we jump in here, there's not too much special about it, but it is cool that there's an email app now on the Vita. So you can obviously hop into your inbox here. You guys can see all my super special private emails in here, and it'll load those up there and that sort of thing. So anyway, that'll sort through all of your email. You still have your folders here, so if you've got folders here, those will all be displayed there as well. And you can go through your mails. You can obviously compose mails. The one sad thing about my Gmail here is that it did not bring over my Google contacts, so you would need to re-add those in here. But it is as easy as tapping their name on an email and you can add them in there. So a no-frills email app, but for those who wanted an email application, there it is for you. Very cool. Let's see. Oh, one more thing I wanted to actually compare with the other Vita that's big upgrade here. Let me pull that other Vita back here to show you. Screenshots. Screenshots have been hugely upgraded. So let's say I go to the PlayStation Store. This is for games, period. I'm just pulling up the PlayStation Store here to give you something that looks exactly the same. Get this lined up for you perfectly here. Screenshots. So most of you probably know if you hold the PlayStation button and press start at the same time, you'll do a screenshot. On the old Vita firmware, it looks something like this. On the bottom Vita here. There you go. I now have a screenshot of this screen. It took, what, approximately 5 seconds. Other thing to note is while that's happening, I have no control. Nothing works. Alright? There you go. So again, after about 5 seconds there, I have a screenshot. Now let's check it out in firmware 2.0. Of course, on the top Vita, that's it. I've got full control. Everything's back. One more time for you in case you missed it. There you go. I've now got a screenshot, and I'm already back to full control of the Vita. That is a huge upgrade. Something I'm very glad that they were able to do and get that sorted out and get that on there, because that's awesome. And again, that works exactly like that in games. I was simply using the store here as it's something very easy to show off to you. Just two more quick things, and that will about round it out here. This does have cloud support saves for PlayStation Plus now. I haven't messed with PlayStation Plus on here yet, though. So I'm not going to get into that, but for the most part it sounds like that's working all right. Just two more things. Number one, with maps here. They did add temperature into the map, so I'll show you a couple of things here. First, what I did was I searched Osaka, which is where I'm at now, and to try to figure out how the temperatures worked exactly and how it was displayed. So if we jump in here to Osaka, I took a look in here. Okay, nothing about temperature. Took a look on the map. Didn't see anything about temperature. Give it a good zoom out. Don't see anything about temperature. Okay, well, then I was wondering, flipping through everything, trying to figure out where it was at, and then I realized, oh, it probably doesn't yet support temperatures for Japan, which is pretty silly because this is a Sony product. But let's hop back out and search for Salt Lake City, Utah. And now about 99% of you out there are wondering why the hell I'm searching Salt Lake City, Utah. And again, don't see anything here, but if we do give it a zoom out, it will actually lay it out pretty nicely for us here. Go out just a bit more here. There we go, and if you can see that each little area here, which is pretty nice, so this is like 6 or 7 area parts of Salt Lake City. You can see I've got it set in Fahrenheit, so you can see 43, 43, 41, 40, 40, obviously colder, closer to the mountain. So it's not very user-friendly there. You do have to zoom out as far as I've seen to kind of a view like this to get the temperature, but it's also got the icon for the weather. Wish it was a little more user-friendly. Maybe if I just tapped info here, if the weather had information, if it popped up here, that would be awesome, but it does not do that. But I don't use the maps program on here very much as it is. It's a little bit slow, as you probably just saw, but it is nice that they did add that information in there. And just one more thing to show you here, notifications. They've changed notifications. They've given you some options here. So if we go into the settings menu and hit notifications, it looks a lot different in here. Enable notification alerts. You can completely turn the whole thing off from there, and then we can go in here and we can change notifications for everything basically. So we can change it by application. So for trophies, for example, show up on screen. If I uncheck that, trophies won't pop up on my screen. Light up PlayStation button, that's this blue button down here in the bottom left. If I turn that off, it won't flash that button when I get a trophy. Play sound, I can also turn off the sound. So for those of you who are really annoyed with trophies popping up, you can just turn all that off and you won't have to worry about trophies. Obviously they'll still unlock, but you won't have to know that they're being unlocked. And this works for everything else essentially too. For the email app and every other app on there, download status, all of that stuff, you can mess with your notifications. So very similar to the way an iPhone or some other phone might do it. But yeah, you've got notifications. Anyway, that's pretty much everything, at least all of the big updates there. Again, most of it was with the web browser, as you saw earlier there. It got a huge overhaul because it now utilizes the GPU of the Vita, which is nice. The screenshot function was also very, very big, as well as being able to actually use the web browser while playing software without having to close it out. And those PlayStation 1 updates were nice as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was pretty informative for you. I will have a bunch more videos coming up soon. There's a lot of good stuff that's been coming out, particularly in North America for the Vita the last little bit. So check back for that stuff because I'll have it up soon. Thanks for watching, guys.